Welcome to Say More, the podcast where we expand the conversation around what it means to be human. I'm Andy Spray, and I'm here with my co-host, Emily Lawyer, licensed professional counselor. We're answering your real questions, and while we're at it, creating a community where we can grow together and learn how to connect more to self in order to connect more to others and ultimately more to God. Hi.
Hi, friends.
How you doing today?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here with everybody in the room and also listening.
Yes.
Our community.
You know, Emily, the people should know that you and I are women of a certain age now. Okay?
We don't try to keep it a secret.
No, it's just who we are. It's just where we're at in life. And there's some benefits that come along with that.
Okay.
Today, we're talking about responsibility.
Yes.
And I think one of the greatest benefits of getting older is how much less I care about things.
I agree with that.
And things that I used to feel responsible for, now I'm kind of like, that's no longer my business. What's going on with that? It's not my business.
It feels good to be part of that club.
Yes. So if you're in the that's not my business club, you could be a young person and just be freer than I was as a young person, perhaps. Mm-hmm. But I think the benefit sometimes is it's like, remember when I used to care about that? I don't care about that
Don't care about it anymore.
So, since we're talking this way, I thought we could share, you and I could just share with the people some things that it's like, that's no longer my business.
Responsibilities that are no longer my business.
No longer my business.
I'll be happy to name these out loud.
All right, get us started.
Okay. Let's start with one that I think a lot of people probably can identify with.
Okay.
How about eating copious amounts of protein?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I'm doing my best. I think I'm meeting the standard.
Are you? Because it's like 150 grams a day.
I don't have scurvy. I can get out of bed.
Well, scurvy's vitamin C.
What's a protein deficiency cause?
I don't
Apparently
know. Just
everything.
poor muscle. Yeah, everything. But enough with the protein popcorn.
I can only make chicken in so many ways.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's protein Pop-Tarts now, and
they're disgusting. Have you had them? They taste like Play-Doh. I got sucked in. I got influenced. I need more protein, and I bought them, and they were truly heinous.
I'm okay to accept the responsibility of the protein that is needed for my body to operate well. Accepting the responsibility of I need to be in the upper echelon and eating so much, I can't.
I can't do it. It's a full-time job.
Exactly.
The protein goals
I
are a
have other
full-time job.
things to think about.
How much I ate yesterday, that's none of your business. How about that?
Not only is it no longer my business,
It's not yours.
It's not your business either.
All right. I'm going to see your protein goals.
Okay.
And I'm going to raise you. You know what I've decided is not my business? What the back of my head looks like. Okay? I'm doing my hair for the front. That's all I can see. That's all I'm choosing to be responsible for. I know I have a cowlick back there that probably looks like a bald spot.
Okay.
I try and blow dry it nice, but it's not. Once I leave the house, it's no longer my business.
I don't know. I've known you for a long time. I've seen the back of your head many, many times. I don't know that I've ever even noticed that, but
well, if you sit behind me at church, clearly I'm looking at the back of other people's heads, but I'm saying, you know what? That's not my business. The front of my face and the front of my hair, that's my business. Whatever's going on in the back.
People, do with it what you will.
Do with it what you will.
It is no longer my business as to what you think about that, how you feel about that.
Nope. If you thought I should have done something differently.
No longer my business.
That's no longer my business.
Move back to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put updating my apps.
Okay.
I will let the app demand an update from me if it stops working.
That's why they have that feature, because of people like you.
Okay, correct.
Yeah.
And I'm fine to be in that category. But every time there is an app, me needing to update it immediately when it happens, it's just I'm unable to adopt that responsibility.
I am married to Mr. Tech.
Does he update all those apps for you?
He just will take my phone and update the apps.
Okay, well.
You know what? It's his responsibility.
What a gentleman.
It's his business.
That's right. It's not yours or mine.
It's none of my business, but it's his business.
Can I get him to also update my apps?
Sure. Next time you come over, he'll just take my phone. He's like, hold on, you've got some apps to update. I'm like, I didn't even know. If I was just somewhere on my own, I'd probably still have my VCR TV combo. and I'd be on the first generation iPhone. Because, yeah, those apps, it's not my business.
And I know everybody out there listening, especially if you're a techie person, because techie people have said this to me before. Emily, you just hit the one button and it updates all of them. I hear you.
That sounds like a lot of work.
When I also have to track my protein, do you think I have time to also hit one button?
There's just not enough time in the day to upgrade all of our apps constantly. And then eat the protein.
No.
And by the way, we should be worrying about our fiber goals, but that's maybe...
listen.
Add that to things that you can decide if it's your business. All right, here's some business. I don't care anymore what you think of my car and if it makes me look cool.
Oh, that is a freedom that hits.
Well, it hits you because you and I both drive terrible cars.
We absolutely do.
Last weekend, Emily and I were driving together, and I hit a pothole so significant. She's doubled over right now. We thought my wheel was going to come off.
What did I say? Yeah. I yelled out, "Oh my goodness, I'm afraid you just popped a tire."
I didn't.
No, you didn't.
However, there is something that we have yet to determine. This part might be my business, but we have yet to determine hanging down that we're going to look into. But so that's not that, but what my car looks like and if it makes me seem cool, not my business. You can think I'm cool or not cool based on my vehicle. That's on you.
My car that I'm driving now is a very, very used car. And the bumper sticker that it came with, I didn't even bother to take off the bumper sticker. It's okay. I mean, it wouldn't be a bumper sticker I would normally choose, but
it's fine.
But it's fine.
It's good enough.
It's good.
Right? Because who cares?
Yes. In fact, it actually helps me find my car because there's a lot of people who drive the same model as I have. And I just know,
I'm going to look for that bumper
sticker. Hippie bumper sticker, and that's mine. That's my girl. Okay, let's move on to, this one is a little bit hyper-specific.
Okay.
How about I can no longer say it is my business what you feel or think if I don't watch a show that you told me to watch.
Ooh.
I will say, okay, thanks for the recommendation. I'm going to add that to my list. And I do add it to my list. But I think I'm done with, if I never get around to it, I'm done with worrying that, you'll be upset or you'll be disappointed, or I think that's no longer my business.
I can tell you that's not your business because you do not take all my show recommendations. You take a lot of them.
They're good.
But you don't take all of them. And vice versa, actually.
Yes.
There's a bunch you're like, how have you not started this yet? I'm like, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I'm eating so much protein. How can I possibly? And especially when it's a show that's already finished and you're like, 7 seasons.
Right. It's daunting.
It's daunting.
It's a daunting endeavor to step into that.
So it's like how you react to that, that's not going to be my business anymore.
It's not my business anymore.
That and my bald spot is just not my business. Here's my ultimate, not my business. If I look good in a bathing suit.
Oh, wow. Can we just take a second?
Let's just breathe that one in. My business is putting it on and having fun. That's my business.
Okay.
Whether or not I look good, it's not my business.
The hours and hours and hours that I have spent taking on that responsibility.
Yeah.
Really, what could I have done in that time? Written a novel? The new Great American novel could have been written.
You could have updated all those apps. For the mental energy what you looked like in a bathing suit was taking up. And I say, you know what? That's not my business anymore. I'm going to roll up in my busted old minivan with my busted body.
And your cowlick.
My cowlick, my body that has brought life to planet Earth.
That's right.
And I'm just going to have fun. I'm here for a good time, not looking good.
That's so appealing, though.
Yeah.
It's so appealing. Okay, so...
Take us home.
Finishing up, this is one that is informed by an actual situation that happened to me somewhat recently. So I have a very, very strong sense of justice.
Okay.
I have a very, very strong sense of right and wrong, a very, very strong sense of keeping up rules that protect other people from harm, adhering to those rules. I'm a firstborn, a lot of other reasons, but I have a very strong sense of that. So when I'm driving and people are zooming in and out haphazardly or irresponsibly, which I know we live in an area where that happens a lot, but I think pretty much no matter where you're listening to this, you're probably experiencing more of that. It really, really, really used to get me. I couldn't let it go. And I would just follow the person, and who would do that? What kind of person? And I just decided I can't let that be my business anymore. So here's how I'm unraveling that. Whenever I see it happen, I saw this in a comment thread and I thought, that's really good. I'm going to adopt that. When I see it, I just start saying out loud in my car, wow, that person must really have to go to the bathroom. And it helps.
Because it's just like, I don't know what's going on with them.
It helps. I don't know what's going on with them. It kind of lets me let go of feeling like I need to control them somehow. Now, that actually happened to me where I really did have to go to the bathroom once. I was driving in an area that I didn't know where I was, and I made a turn on red that I probably should not have. And I did get pulled over by a policeman. And I was very upset about it. And I really had to kind of keep myself grounded because I wanted to say, officer, I really need to go. I'm just trying to find a bathroom. It's late at night. No place is open. He showed no mercy.
Thank you to the men in blue for just like being aimless?
While I was being aimless, making a somewhat reckless turn on red.
Oh, I see.
So I was doing what these other people do, and it was indeed because I really needed to go to the bathroom.
He was making it your business.
He made it his business.
And you're like, officer, I just need to take care of some business.
And again, thank you to the policeman for keeping us safe. But he very much made it his business, and I went home with a fairly hefty ticket.
Well, I don't think I can top that. Let's get into our question of the week. Okay, I'm going to read our question. This came in after a live event. Here we go. How do you keep your teen/young adult connected to God when your spouse doesn't live out their faith?
How do you keep your teen or young adult connected to God when your spouse isn't living out their faith?
Can I start by asking the obvious?
Mm-hmm.
What does this question have to do with responsibility?
Yeah. Good question. If you've been with us since episode 1, you're probably starting to pick up on a few things. We often get questions like this that have a lot of moving parts, that have a lot of pieces to them. And there's not a simple answer to a question like this. Honestly, if someone was asking me this question in a session, we would take a long time. We'd probably take many sessions to kind of flesh this out and explore more of the complexity. So when we have a question like this, what we've been doing in the Say More community is we've been taking just one aspect of it, usually from a perspective that maybe hasn't been explored as much as you're used to, and we speak to just that one aspect. Also, you may have picked up that this podcast is not about giving advice or directives. We've said that from the beginning, partially because I don't have all the answers. And also because we're actually, as a community, we're all going to grow more when someone invites me into self-reflection or someone invites me into new learning or a new perspective instead, and then gives me the option to choose what to do next rather than just me saying, just do this, just do that, and it'll fix it. So we're going to keep consistent with that today. And we're going to explore the concept of responsibility, or more pointedly, recognizing appropriate responsibility. That's the aspect we're going to zero in on in that complex question. So the question is asking, who's responsible for what?
Okay.
Who's responsible for my child's faith?
Okay.
Who's responsible for my child's beliefs? Who's responsible for my spouse's beliefs or my spouse's faith? Am I responsible for my child's faith? Am I responsible for my spouse's faith? Who's responsible for my spouse's actions? Maybe those are questions that you, if you're listening, have found yourself asking before. Maybe not. So just in case, let's go ahead and open up the concept of responsibility a little bit more. All right. If you are listening and you are someone who wants to improve your listening skills, this episode is for you. If you are someone who often feels resentful when people just won't do what you tell them to do. I'm going to raise my hand there. That's me all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
With the road warriors?
You got it. So if that's you, then this episode might be helpful for you. If your anxiety just keeps intensifying, no matter how many grounding skills or deep breathing or even medication you've tried, this episode might be helpful for you. If when I say, sometimes the long way is the best way, and you start to twitch, this episode is going to be for you. If you start every email response with no worries to reassure the sender, this episode is going to be for you.
That one hurt.
Okay. If you always keep the schedule for your partner because they often forget appointments, this episode might be for you. Everybody starting to hear yourself a little bit more in any of these? If you're someone that people always go to for reassurance, you're the one that people go to, they know they'll get lots and lots and lots of reassurance from you. This episode might be for you. If you're someone who usually lets the other person or somebody else tell you what you should do in a situation, this episode is going to be for you. Okay.
So what you're saying is, even though this question was very specific, if you do not have a teenager, if you do not have a spouse, if you are not even a person who's interested in faith and spiritual development, we're talking all kinds of things with responsibility.
Absolutely.
Broadly speaking, we all have something to get out of knowing who owns what.
Absolutely. This is an all skate.
This is an all...
Including me and you.
Okay. Always. Don't think I'm getting out of these.
Oh, no.
I'm never getting out of
them. No. And because every single one of those scenarios I just described speak to the concept of responsibility or recognizing appropriate responsibility. Okay. This concept shows up in every single interaction we have, no matter who it's with. It is at work all the time. And we are almost always completely unconscious of it taking place. It's unconscious to us. Now, the challenge is if we have something like this and I'm unaware of it, I have absolutely no chance of ever doing something different. If I am aware, I've at least got a shot at doing something different. So that's mainly what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to increase a lot of awareness because, again, this is so subtle, but it's so commonplace that we will never see it unless we know what we're looking for. And like I said, it's vitally important that we do become more aware of this.
Yeah.
Because this is as human as it gets. It affects all of us all the time. Okay, now, but when we're working with something that is so unconscious also, it takes a lot of adjustment to kind of bring that to our conscious awareness. So today we're also going to take the tiniest bite possible, and then we're going to chew it and chew on it and gum it to applesauce consistency. So that it's easier to digest. So we're really going to let ourselves take a tiny bite and then become very familiar with that.
I accept that description for the purposes of the show. Otherwise, ew. But yeah, okay, so we got to really break this one down to be able to digest it, like you say.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Yes. Okay, so let's start with how or why do these lines of responsibility get blurred?
Okay.
We're going to start by laying down a lot of acceptance, a lot of grace, a lot of compassion to ground us in this. We are relational creatures, both by design. We are created by a relational God to be deeply relational. So both by design and adaptation. We are so deeply relational creatures. We're designed to kind of clock what's going on with other people all the time. We're wired to pay attention to other people's change in behavior or other people's shift in mood. Now, what that means, though, is sometimes we end up trading functioning. Okay? And by functioning, I mean my thinking, my beliefs, my actions, my behaviors. Sometimes maybe I will offer my functioning to other people, or I might borrow other people's functioning when they do offer it to me instead of utilizing my own. So that can show up as what we call over-functioning or under-functioning. It's kind of, we kind of borrow each other's functioning to fill in the gaps of any gap in my own ability to manage myself. We all do it. We're bringing lots of compassion here. We all do it because it helps us feel a sense of belonging. It helps us feel a sense of calm and security when we're anxious. In fact,
over-functioning does?
Or under-functioning.
Or under-functioning, okay.
That kind of borrowing each other's functioning.
Okay.
It brings a very strong sense of calm and security. In fact, when stress goes up, the more these lines get blurred.
Huh, okay.
Because the more stress there is in the relationship or within me, the more likely these lines are going to get blurred. We all do it. And we're not even saying today that the goal is for that never to happen again. We are saying there is a cost that comes along with that type of borrowing functioning. And we just want to be aware of what's going on so that we have a greater chance, again, of doing something differently if I recognize the cost is starting to become too high.
Okay, so maybe you're noticing that. How do you recognize when we're blurring
When
the
I'm
lines?
blurring the lines, yes. How can I kind of discern what's appropriate responsibility or not?
Yeah, because that seems like the $1 million question.
Yeah. And again, like we're naming, this is so subtle that it is very, very, very difficult to recognize. It's so automatic. It's so unconscious. It's happening all the time. I like to categorize it as the difference between responsible for and responsible to. That's going to be, those are your two buzzwords from this episode, responsible for and responsible to. And I'm going to walk us through what it looks like to be in each column. So let's start with responsible for. Okay. If I'm in responsible for, the posture of responsible for, it will look like control. Now, we've already hit a record scratch because when I use the word control, all of us kind of, we brace a little bit, right? It feels like, hang on a minute. I don't control people, Emily. People who control people are manipulative and they're malicious or deceitful, right?
Right.
We have sort of a label that we put on that. Again, let me bring a lot of grace. Wanting control is not a bad thing. We need a sense of control or we would not get out of bed in the morning. It's just, what am I putting my energy into trying to control? And what do I actually have control over? Okay, so let's get really practical. Responsible for, it would show up as maybe trying to fix somebody or something.
Okay.
It would show up as maybe trying to protect or rescue somebody from something within themselves, or specifically when I'm in responsible for, I try to fix or protect or rescue things that I don't actually have control over. Things that God has not granted me authority over. Usually it shows up as trying to fix somebody's feelings or protect their feelings, or maybe trying to rescue them from a belief.
Okay.
That they're naming or that I can see that they're in. Or it might be me trying to control their beliefs. I have not been given authority to control those things. I can create a false sense of control. I can create a false sense of power or authority over those things. And again, we all do that all the time. Now, sometimes, especially if you're listening right now, you may have been on the other side of this type of false power or control to a really extreme level. But God has created us with free will and autonomy. Even though ultimately He is the only being with the power and authority to control all of those things, He still doesn't do it. He gives us agency. And so if I'm operating out of responsible for, I'm stepping into this false belief that I have authority over something I don't have authority over.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Is responsible for always, I don't know if inappropriate is the right word, but like always the wrong thing? And by that, I mean, is there ever a time that is accurate, that we are responsible for something?
Well, I think that question is probably going to get answered a little bit more when we get to responsible to.
Okay.
The way that we're kind of using it right now in the responsible for, if it's control, especially control over things that I don't have authority over.
Would that ultimately or be other people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Even, I mean, those of you who are listening who are parents, think of your 2-year-old. When you are trying to get your 2-year-old to put on their shoes, there is a sense that I have control over that. If we actually sit in the honest reality of it, how much control do I have? Well, when my 2-year-old starts practicing the word no, right? That there are things, again, we all do this. We will step into ways that we can kind of create a false sense of control for ourselves. But in reality, the only being that has ultimate power or authority over that is God. And God has designed us with free will and autonomy. So if I'm trying to control that, there's going to be a cost both for me and for the other person.
So if I'm sitting in the responsible for, it means I am inappropriately attempting to control another person or a situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Also, if I'm operating out of responsible for, what tends to kind of happen is I tend to see the other person as an extension of myself. So it kind of shows up as, well, they must be feeling what I'm feeling right now. Or they must be thinking what I'm thinking right now. They must be wanting what I'm wanting right now. And so I need to fix whatever is going on with them so that it matches up with me, because they're an extension of me. Why wouldn't they want something different? Do you hear how like the autonomy or the sense of separation can start to get really blurry there? Now, if I do that, if I do step into that other person's lane, and again, we all do it all the time. If I do that, things might get more calm. I might calm down a little bit. The other person might even calm down a little bit. It's just that nobody gets more capable.
Okay. Hold on.
Yep,
Don't move past that
too
fast. If we use the responsible for and ultimately end up kind of controlling someone or a situation, it might temporarily look like, didn't I do a good job?
Correct.
Didn't I help this person?
Correct.
But what we're shortcutting is nobody got more capable.
Correct. We might get more calm, but nobody gets more capable. Neither of us get the chance to grow in owning what is ours to own.
Okay.
Neither of us gets the chance to use our agency to manage our own feelings or manage our own thoughts or manage our own wants or manage our own behaviors. Now, granted, it's harder. It's harder to sit in the allowing both of us to grow because there's going to be a sense of anxiousness that comes up. There's probably going to be some fear. There's probably going to be some sort of distress in my body, right? Why wouldn't I want to calm that down? Why wouldn't I want to bring some comfort to that distress? The thing is, though, that the change is in the struggle. The change happens in the struggle. So if we rescue people out of that, we get in the way of their change and I get in the way of my own opportunity to grow more in managing myself while someone is in the struggle.
Well, we said at the beginning of the question that this was not just an episode for parents, but I think as a parent, there's a lot here because you do often feel responsible for your children in a way that probably does rob them of a lot of opportunities to grow. And then not even considering that it's robbing you too.
Of the opportunity.
Of the opportunity. Well, I guess I jumped ahead a little bit before. Sorry about that.
No, it's a good question.
If we already, you helped us understand responsible for, give us responsible to.
Responsible to, yeah. And when we start to map this out, it will start to be a little easier to compare responsible for and responsible to. Okay. If responsible for looks like control, responsible to looks like care. Okay. Responsible to shows up, for example, like listening. Responsible to shows up like empathy. Responsible to shows up as encouragement. Now, I want to take just a minute to explain. Encouragement can sometimes be control, but wearing a costume.
Yeah.
Right? Like sometimes I'll say, well, I just encouraged them. And my encouragement sounded like, you just need to remember fill in the blank. That's not encouragement. That's control. That's an attempt to control what somebody is believing. Encouragement in responsible to would sound like, I believe that you have enough to get through this. I believe that you are growing. I am here to support you in whatever struggle you're going through right now. That's encouragement that lands a little more squarely in care instead of maybe jumping into control. Responsible to can show up as confronting. Now, again, I want to take a second. Often we're a little confused about that. If we look at the word confront, what it actually means, just in its definition, confront means to face from the front. If I'm in responsible to, facing something from the front would be something like using the I feel, when you, because I need structure that we used in our communication episode. Facing something from the front in responsible to is going to use an I statement. If I'm saying I'm confronting and I'm saying, oh, no, this is care, but my confrontation sounds like you just need to stop. You just need to stop drinking. You just need to show up differently as a parent. You just need to listen to God more. That's not care. That is control. And again, this is why we're really taking our time to really chew on this, because it's so subtle and it can show up so easily.
Is the difference or a difference between the two of them sort of your ownership of the outcome?
That's a big part of it. Like
your desire to shape what the outcome's going to be.
For sure.
Would ultimately be like, well, then I'm moving more into the control.
For certain. Mm-hmm. For certain. That's a huge thing that can be a motivator of I'm very, very concerned. Often, to your point, it's fear.
Yeah.
It's saying I'm really afraid or I'm very worried about the outcome. And because of just the way that we interact as humans, almost always we will default or jump first into, well, the way to control the outcome is to control the other person, instead of pausing and saying, let me control myself first. Let me manage myself first.
And it's probably always an attempt for positive control.
Yes.
I was just having a conversation with a friend about, like, what does it mean to just sit with somebody who's struggling or who's grieving? And we were saying, like, sometimes it's out of good motives that I want you to feel better. I hate watching my friend be in pain.
Yes.
But really, it's trying to achieve a certain outcome of our time together. And that outcome is you're going to feel better. Or I'm going to tell you the thing that's going to make you feel hopeful, or I'm going to be able to move you towards, like I think you sort of referenced this, like out of a negative belief.
Yes.
No, that's not true.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
You know it's going to be great. And it's like, that's all still, even the motives were good. Very pure motives. I love my friend. I don't want them to be suffering.
Of course.
But ultimately, I'm trying to manipulate the outcome of our interaction together.
I'm jumping in their lane.
Oh, that's hard.
It is really, really, really difficult. Sometimes I'll even name things like confronting as leveling or sharing. Again, like in the situation with your friend, right? Sharing or responsible to would sound like, yeah, my heart is breaking to see you in this pain right now. I hate that this is what you're going through, right? I'm staying in my lane. I'm sharing, I'm leveling, even facing things from the front, while at the same time allowing the other person to feel what they're feeling, to manage what they're feeling, to even struggle or sit in the struggle of what they're feeling. And because this is what we know about emotion, right? The only way out is through. So again, if I'm jumping into somebody else's lane and trying to rescue or fix, we might get more calm, but neither of us are going to grow more capable. It's really, really difficult. So all of those might be ways to tell if I'm in responsible to instead of responsible for. Let's call back to our question. If I wanted to operate out of responsible to in that scenario, it might look like listening to my child's questions or thoughts about their faith. It might look like facing my own emotions that I'm feeling about my spouse's actions not matching up with what I hoped for or what I expected. And then it also, responsible to, might look like directly communicating what I'm feeling to my spouse, leveling, facing it from the front. It might look like sharing what my own beliefs or my own faith looks like with my child. So operating out of responsible for, though, might look like trying to convince my spouse to do something different.
Got it.
Now, if I'm still, as you're listening, if you're still feeling a little unsure about, well, okay, I'm starting to get it, Emily. I'm still a little unsure about how to discern what my motivation is, though, or whether I'm operating out of responsible for or responsible to. We can ask, and this goes back to you were already clicking, you were already connecting the dots. I can ask, what am I most concerned with right now? If I'm being really honest with myself and I say, well, I'm most concerned with the circumstance, or I'm most concerned right now with a solution or performance, or I'm most concerned with being right, then I'm in responsible for. If I'm most concerned with really listening to the other person, if I'm most concerned with relating person to person or seeing the other person as an individual who is growing and learning at their own pace and in their own way, and then also trusting that that can take place, then I'm probably in responsible to. Now, if I'm still not sure, if you go through all those things and you're still not sure, I can also ask myself, what do I feel? What emotion do I feel if the other person doesn't do what I want them to do right now? And if I'm feeling resentful, or if I'm feeling fearful or guilty or tired, fatigued, that they're not doing what I want them to do, they're not changing how I want them to change or at the speed that I want them to change, then I'm probably in responsible for. If when they don't do what I'm wanting them to do, I feel free, I feel relaxed, and can stay aware of the reality, then I'm probably in responsible to. Responsible to is largely where I sit as a therapist.
Okay.
Or pray to be able to sit.
Yeah.
Right? And I've even had years of training to be able to sit in responsible to. It takes a tremendous amount of effort to consistently stay in listening and empathy and encouraging and sharing and leveling and facing things from the front when everything in us wants to fix or control or protect or join in or carry somebody else's feelings instead.
I have a question. I know as a therapist professionally, you are not giving advice, but if you are friend to friend or in a relationship or even like parent to child, and they are asking, what do you think I should do? Is it appropriate to speak into that, or does that still get into the responsible for?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll kind of go back to where I sit in that as a therapist. Whenever someone asks something like that, I like as a practice to just ask at least 2 or 3 questions before we jump into something.
Such a therapist move.
Right? And
never give an answer.
And people
give 3 more questions.
People often feel very annoyed with me.
Yeah.
Understandably. Right? Like me doing that exposes some of the gap of ability to manage self. Like that's exposing. I got a lot of self-doubt right now, Emily.
Right. Because why are you actually asking me to tell you what to do?
Correct.
It's because something else.
Correct.
Okay.
And as a therapist, my job is to be less concerned with them getting an answer, is to be less concerned with the solution to their problem, which honestly, I don't know the best thing for them to do anyway. It's not my life. My job as a therapist is to be more concerned with creating an environment where their capability can grow, where their
to know what to do,
ability to choose what they want or need to do can grow. So yes, I mean, I think, there's nuance there.
Yeah, right. It might be circumstantial.
Definitely, if someone has asked me first, if they're soliciting, I'm definitely going to be less irresponsible for than if I just offer
if I just
advice
telling them
unsolicited.
Here's what you got to do.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. And again, going back to kind of where we started, we're not even saying that the goal is for us never to be irresponsible for. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
The goal is for us to become more aware of these things so that when I'm noticing there's a cost that's starting to become too high, I can pivot or I can show up differently in a way where the cost is not happening as much.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good question, though. Okay, let's go to another sort of practical example. Let's say, going back to the parent-child, that my child is again, trying to get out the door, right? They're trying to figure out a way to own what is theirs to own and exercise autonomy. Sometimes I don't have time to listen and empathize and ask 3 questions. Yes. And level. Well, okay, here's your choice. You can either put on your shoes now or there will be a right? Sometimes I don't have for that. It's a lot easier to just say, just do it or I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. Right? And again, we're always going to be moving back and forth into these 2 columns. You and I are always, we've said every time we record an episode, there's something that's happening in our own lives that shows up in the episode that we're working with. I'm working right now, literally as of this weekend that we're recording, with some family stuff. And I have found myself jumping into responsible for over and over and over again, which, by the way, staying in responsible to in family relationships that's the final boss. It's the hardest.
That's the hardest?
It's the absolute hardest to practice responsible.
Family of origin or your kids or all of the above?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because when you step into change, the system wants to stay where it is. And so that shift can take a lot of effort. Now, maybe you're hearing us talk about this and you're thinking, okay, well, Emily, I do want to practice this, but I don't know how to do it. You're talking about all these things and responsible to, and I don't know how to do those things. Wonderful. That's a clue that you are ready to take a growth step.
Okay.
And we have an episode for that. You don't feel comfortable with facing things from the front or leveling with someone? Check out the direct communication episode. Don't feel comfortable with empathy? Check out the empathy episode. Maybe you're listening to all this and saying, well, Emily, I feel really anxious letting other people learn at their own pace. Great ownership. Go re-listen to the change episode so you can bring some more compassion to yourself and the other person and learn how to practice the pause and bring that anxiety to God. We're going to link all of those in the show notes to make it easy for you. And you're also going to hear, we're going to be doing more of that in season 3, because again, this is how real change takes place. Surround myself with a lot of grace and truth and supportive community. This is why we wanted to create this Say More community, grace and truth and some supportive community for the journey. and then practice it over and over and over and over.
Oh, there's work to be done.
Yes.
But good work.
Good work.
Good work to be done.
Yeah.
And you've been talking a lot about the cost being too high. Is there a cost to taking on things that aren't yours to own?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's kind of land with what might that cost look like? And then what's the benefit of stepping into more responsible to instead of staying in responsible for?
Yeah.
We're going to land today with where do I ultimately want to put my energy? If most of my energy is going towards being in responsible for, that's a pretty ineffective use of my energy. There's going to be a cost there. If the more energy I put towards responsible to, the bigger benefit of using that energy towards things that I actually can control, things that I actually do have some authority over. Sometimes a good question to ask ourselves is just that. How much time am I spending trying to manage others? Versus how much time am I spending trying to manage myself? Sometimes just asking ourselves those really good questions can help me discern what level of cost am I absorbing in my current kind of ways of showing up. And again, this blurred responsibility isn't good or bad. It's human. It's more just, is this who I want to be in the relationship, right?
Yeah.
What do I want my child or my friend or my spouse or my parent to expect from me in relationship? And so those are all really good questions to kind of sit with. What type of responsibility do I want to practice? What type of responsibility posture do I want to take?
Yeah. And obviously, again, not to only make this about parenting, but clearly all levels of parenting need this, but especially to this person who asked the question, when you're parenting teens and young adults. I think it would be even more significant to step out of the role of, I'm going to control the outcome here. I'm going to, shape how you think about this. I'm going to shape your belief system about that. And to step out of that and say, I have to be secure with wherever you land and just offer a place of listening and encouraging and loving and caring for that isn't only focused on shaping the outcome.
Yes, great observation. I'm going to tell a story about that in just a second. That's exactly at that developmental stage. Everything in my teen or young adult is supposed to be practicing autonomy, is supposed to be practicing becoming my own separate sense of self. I want that to happen so that when it's time for my child to leave the nest, they have a sense of security to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And again, to your really good observation, my job as the parent is to manage myself.
It's so hard.
It is so difficult. And ultimately, we don't practice any of this to be better than other people or to try to reach some, high point of self-actualization. We do it so we can be free.
Yeah. Because when I'm trying to control someone, really, I can't manage my own sense of fear.
Yes.
If I'm with my teen and, no, don't think like that. You're great. Everybody loves you.
Yes.
That's my own fear that I'm not managing, that I'm now bringing onto them.
It's exposing a gap in my functioning. And that's a great opportunity for me to step into some change or some growth so that we can be free. We can be free to let the Holy Spirit guide me. I can be more free to listen to God's voice. I can be more free to live according to my values. I can be free to live out the life planned for me instead of putting all my energy into managing somebody else's life.
Yeah.
When I never really had control over that anyway. We can get so good at reading other people or guessing even about what we think other people need that sometimes we forget to know ourselves. And then again, back to what you just said, also, I'm giving other people the opportunity to be free to live the life that God has planned for them, right? As Paul reminds us, run our own race. God has a race set out for each of us. And us being able to kind of become more aware of when I'm in responsible to or responsible for will let us be able to do that more. Okay, so I'm gonna finish up. I have been absolutely obsessed. At the time we're recording this, the Winter Olympics just finished. And I have been absolutely obsessed with the Olympics. In particular, the woman who won the gold medal in figure skating.
Oh, yes.
Alyssa Liu.
I love her.
Okay, let me tell you
why. With the cool stripy hair.
Yeah. Let me tell you why. She is one of the best examples I've ever seen of the motivation that someone can find within themselves when given autonomy. Her story, just in a nutshell, she, from a very early age, her father put her into figure skating, and I've seen several interviews with him, and good on him. He's really owned a lot of his behaviors too, but a self-professed helicopter parent.
Yeah.
Controlled everything that she did, said, where she was, every bite of food that she put into her mouth, what she looked like. High levels of responsible for.
Okay.
She excelled. I think she won like a world championship very early, like at 13 or something. And then a couple years later, she reached that developmental stage that you were talking about. She reached adolescence, and the shelf life ran out.
Yeah.
She
wasn't working anymore.
It wasn't working anymore. She separated in such dramatic fashion. She literally flew to the other side of the globe. She went and lived in Nepal for 2 years. Now, I don't know what transpired in that 2 years, but something happened.
Yeah.
Where her sense of self grew so secure that she was able to live more free and say, you know what? I actually miss skating. I think I want to come back to it. And then she came back and operated in a way where she said, I want to do this, and I'm going to operate out of my agency, my autonomy. And to her father's credit, something changed in him, and that he was able to be more irresponsible too. And she ended up winning the gold medal. And if you watch her performance, the freedom, I mean, it just shoots through the screen.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately kind of what we're looking at.
She said, I'm going to own my own life.
Yes.
And then look at the joy and freedom that came out of it.
Look at the joy and freedom and growth.
That would have been robbed.
Oh, my goodness. And excellence.
Yeah.
She ended up winning the gold medal. So I think it's a good place for us to kind of triple toe loop and land.
We're going to land by saying, if you give your kids some autonomy, they all will go on to win gold medals. That's what you're hearing us say. They're all going to get D1 scholarships. No, this is one we're going to keep working at. We're going to link those other episodes in the show notes. I was actually thinking of multiple boundaries things when we were talking. So there's a lot that we're building on, which is why we have to sort of take it piece by piece, because we're doing a big build here. And hopefully you're along with us to keep the work of moving towards greater freedom for your children, greater freedom for your relationships, your friends, your spouse, your coworkers, and greater freedom for yourself. And we want that for you, and we want you along with us as we are journeying together. If there is a topic or a question you want to ask, say more, please reach out to us on social media. You can leave comments and questions in the podcast. Check out the show notes, like we said, because we're going to keep going. We're going to keep moving together. And, we might get into more nitty gritty here in season 3 and beyond. So don't be afraid to ask your questions. But just know you're going to get 3 other questions asked back to you. Before you get an answer.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. We are glad you're with us, and we will see you next time.